Good morning, class. Today we are going to discuss the various modes of operations for block cipher. We've already discussed what block cipher is, what stream cipher is. Now, to recall both of them, both the techniques, both the terms, stream cipher is a cipher technology or is an encryption method wherein bit by bit message is converted from plain text to cipher text. Talking about block cipher is a technology wherein the plain text is picked up and broken into blocks and then converted into cipher text. So basically we can say that in block cipher, block by block plain text is converted into cipher text. To elaborate more, block cipher technology or different ways or different operations that different technologies will inbuilt in their functionality. For that we need to know what block cipher modes of operations are, and there are five modes of operations if we have to discuss block cipher. Now the first thing that we're going to discuss today is electronic codebook mode. Now this is the first block cipher mode of operation. Electronic codebook mode operation. Now there's a reason behind why it is called codebook. The term codebook in electronic codebook mode is basically used because for a given key there is unique cipher text for every b-bit block of plain text. That is, for every time if you have the same plain text, the conversion of the cipher text from the plain text will always be the same. For example, if I say hello and hello word is there in your document for near about 10 times. Now for all these 10 times, for each of these times, the replacement that is done with the cipher text will always be same. For example, for the first hello, the conversion from the plain text to cipher text is daily, maybe daily, and for that hello, for each of these hello in the 10 times, the conversion into cipher text will always be daily. Okay, so that is why it is called codebook. And one more thing, it is the simplest mode of operation. If we talk about different modes of operations, we are going to talk about 5 modes of operations, and electronic codebook mode out of them is the simplest mode, wherein plain text is handled one block at a time and each block of a plain text is encrypted using the same key, and that is why it is called symmetric. All of us know that we are discussing symmetric key, right? Symmetric key encryption. So same key is used for encryption and decryption. And also remember, for a message longer than the b bit, if you have a message longer than some bits or some b bits, the procedure is simply to break the message into b bit block and pad the last block if necessary. We've also discussed earlier that if the block size is not as per the specifications, then what is done, we pad the bits to make it as per the specification, and that is what we are going to do in electronic codebook mode operation 2. Whatever the size of the block is supposed to be, for example, it is supposed to be b bit, and if it is supposed to be b bit, then every block has to be of b bit, that has to be converted into ciphertext. And if it is not so, then we'll be padding the bits to make it of the size b bit. I hope you can understand. And decryption is also performed in the similar manner. Likewise, we'll be performing encryption. Similarly, we'll be performing decryption too. Decryption will also be performed one block at a time, and always will be using the same key that is being used for encryption. Now the ECB method is ideal for only few situations. Situations where you need to pass on small amount of messages. If you just need to pass out messages that are very small, always remember, favorable for small messages. Many a times we just need to send message of just a few bits, and ECB method is very ideal for short amount of data. Many a times we just need to pass on the encryption keys. For example, sender and receiver are just going to start their communication, and in their first message they're just trying to communicate the encryption key that they'll be using for encryption and decryption, and maybe they want to share the key, whatever the key is, between the two parties, so they can use ECB is generally used for short amount of messages. So this is one example wherein we can use ECB. Always remember, in ECB, if the same b-bit block of plain text appears again, then ECB will always produce the same ciphertext, and this is the disadvantage also. So if you remember monoalphabetic, I told you monoalphabetic, for every occurrence of an alphabet, it will be producing the same ciphertext. And here, if we talk about block mode, and particularly about electronic codebook block mode, here also the block, if the block repeats itself, their ciphertext will also be repeating, and therefore ECB is not that secure. If you talk about very lengthy messages, ECB is not going to be secure, because if a message is lengthy, then the occurrence of the letter is prone to happen, and the frequency of the repetition is very genuine. It is going to happen, it is obvious, and if it is obvious, then the repetitions of the ciphertext will also occur, and since the reflection of that occurrence of the plain text is there in the ciphertext, it is going to be easier for the attackers to guess what would be the key, right? Therefore, electronic codebook is not suitable for very lengthy messages. Coming on to the diagrams to elaborate what the entire procedure is all about, please see the diagram. We've made a diagram for encryption here. This is an encryption block. Basically, the algo that we're going to use for encryption is kept here. This encryption block is going to take plain text, block of plain text. That is, we have named the different blocks as P1, P2, and up till Pn. We are assuming that the blocks will go to up till Pn. So every block of plain text, remember P1 is just not one bit, it is actually the block of text. So one out of the entire plain text, we have broken them into P1, P2, Pn, and we are just inputting the first block to the encryption algo, and we are also inputting the key to the encryption block. And after giving the input to the encryption block as plain text block and key, we are getting cipher block as the conversion. And this procedure is going to be repeated for how many ever blocks that you have created out of the plain text. This is the entire encryption procedure. Coming on to what is decryption. Decryption is going to be just the reverse of what was done in encryption. And in decryption, we'll be using decryption block, and decryption block will be taking cipher block as the input and the key. This key is going to be same as this key for encryption, because this is the symmetric technology. So decryption is going to take cipher text block and key and generate plain text block. So this is decryption, and this decryption procedure is going to repeat for every block of ciphertext. So the entire electronic codebook mode, I hope it is clear to you. Always remember, the disadvantage of electronic codebook mode is that it is going to repeat itself for every occurrence of the plain text. The ciphertext for every occurrence of the plain text will be repeated. This is the disadvantage, and it is not secure for the lengthy messages. So coming to the second block mode operation, we are going to discuss the second one. Second one says it is cipher block chain mode. It is also called as CBC at times, and previously electronic codebook mode was also called as ECB, electronic codebook mode. So similarly, cipher blockchain mode will also be called as CBC. CBC. Now CBC is an improvement over ECB. Always remember, CBC is just an improvement over ECB. If same plain text block is repeated in CBC, a different ciphertext block is going to be produced, right? Which was not there in ACB. Now the input to the encryption algo here is, if you notice, encryption algo is this block, and the input to it is not the plain text block. It's not simple plain text block. This plain text block is first XOR is done XOR with an initialized vector. Now we decide an initialized vector, some initialized value, and that value is first XORed with the plain text, and that output is then given to the encryption algo as the input, right? And we also use the key for encryption. The key is also used as input for encryption, and then the cipher block mode is generated. Now why is it called chain mode? Remember, after we get the cipher block, this cipher block is then going to be used for second conversion, second plain text block conversion. And what we'll be doing is we'll be now XORing the previous cipher block with the current plain text block, and we'll be performing a XOR between the two. And after performing the XOR between C1 and P2, this will serve as an input for the next key, for the next encryption value. I forgot the key here, I'm sorry. Here also, after getting the input of C1 and P2 as XOR and getting the input for encryption, K also as an input for encryption, will be generating the next block of cipher text, and this is again going to serve for input for the next round. Okay, why is it called chain mode? It is called as chain mode because we are using the previous value of cipher and the current value of plain text. We are then XORing them and then serving them as an input for the next value of for the next round of encryption, right? So the input to the encryption algo is the XOR of the current plain text and the preceding cipher block, always cipher block, preceding cipher block in the current plain text block, and the same key is going to be used for every encryption block. And if you talk about the first step, always remember, since we do not have for first block, for first conversion, we do not have the previous ciphertext, we'll be then using initialized vector. Okay, so talking about decryption, if you talk about decryption here, on decryption, what we'll be doing? On decryption, we'll be performing now on decryption, initialized vector is XORed with the output of the decryption algo. Initialized vector is XORed with the output of the decryption algo, right? And why are we doing this? We are doing this to recover the plain text. Okay, so try and understand once again. The decryption is going to first take cipher block as it is to the decryption block and the key to the decryption block, and then we'll be getting an output. Now this output will then be XORed with the initialized vector, and then there will be a plain text block generated. Okay, this is the first step in the decryption procedure. In the second step, what we'll be doing? In the second step, we'll be taking the previous cipher block and then performing XOR of the previous cipher block and the decryption output. Try and understand. In the second step, we'll be taking the second block of ciphertext as an input and the same key, and after generating an output, this output will then be XORed with the preceding ciphertext, and then there will be the second plain text generated. And similarly, this will be done for all the other steps. Okay, I hope you've understood this. I hope you've understood the entire procedure. Also remember one more thing: the initialized vector must be known to both the sender and the receiver party and must be unpredictable for others, right? Why are we saying must be unpredictable by the others? Because we do not want any attacker to guess what would be the initialized vector, right? So always remember, this is an appropriate technique for encryption even for lengthy messages, which was not the case in CBC. So this is beneficial for lengthy messages, and it also provides confidentiality and authentication. It provides confidentiality plus the authentication to message also, right? So this is one more advantage of CBC. One more thing I would like to mention here. When I say confidentiality and authentication, now by confidentiality I mean I'm going to hide the message, and by authentication I mean I'm going to verify the owner of the message. Okay, always remember, by confidentiality I mean I'm going to hide the actual content of the message, and by authentication I mean I'm going to verify my message every time. So this is the entire procedure of CBC. This is the second method, and the full form of CBC is cipher block chaining mode. Always remember, why are we calling it as chaining mode? Because we are going to use the preceding cipher text block with the current plain text block. Okay, it is an improvement over the electronic codebook mode, which was not secure for lengthy messages, whereas CBC is definitely secure for lengthy messages because it is not going to generate the same ciphertext for same plain text again and again. So this is all about cipher blockchain mode. The next topic that the third mode that we're going to discuss is the cipher feedback mode. Now I would like to discuss the cipher feedback mode in certain steps. If you see the step here, what we are doing is we are first loading the initialize vector in the top register, right? In the top register with the key. This is being loaded here, and after loading the initialize vector and the encryption key to the top register, we'll be taking only S bits or S number of bits which are going to be the most significant bits of the output of the encryption process, and then XOR them with the S bit and S bit plain text message to generate the cipher block. I'll repeat once again so that you can understand. See, here what we are going to do is, in the shift register, we are going to load the initialized vector along with the key value, right? So this shift register has the initialized vector and the key value, and then this is sent to the encryption block. So both the initialized vector and the key value together will be forming 64 bits, and then this will be passing to the encryption block. After getting encrypted, only some of the bits will be selected, and out of which the other bits will be discarded, right? If 64 is the total B bit, S bit will be selected and B minus S will be discarded. After selecting the S bits, we'll then be performing XOR operation with the plain text and then generating the output. And this output will then be serving as the feedback to the next round, right? One more thing I would like to mention is, how are we going to select the S bits? Now, what are these S bits? These S bits are the most significant bits, or you can say the leftmost bits of the output of the encryption process. This encryption process would have generated certain output, and this selected bit is going to be the leftmost S bits of the output. Right, that is the S bits. That is the criteria of selecting. We're just going to select the leftmost S bits. And you can ask me what the number of this S bit would be. The S bit number would depend on the designer of the cipher feedback mode. Whoever is using the cipher feedback mode as the operation for block cipher technique, any block cipher technique, will have the right to decide what would be the number of this S bit. And after selecting this S bit, we will then be performing plain text. Remember, we did not have the plain text picture up till now. Basically, this entire step is what? Is actually conversion of plain text block into ciphertext, right? And see how securely we are doing the entire procedure. We have not discussed about the plain text in any of these steps, right? We're discussing the plain text at the end after loading the initialize vector and the key. We are encrypting it. After encrypting, we are selecting for certain bits we are discarding, and then we are performing the XOR between those selected bits and the plain text, and then generate the cipher block. And this cipher block is again going to be served as the input for the next shift register, and this shift register will now select S bits and discard certain bits. This S is going to serve as selected bits, and this B minus S is going to serve as the discarded bits, right? I hope you can understand. Why is it called, one more thing, feed cipher block. This cipher block is again feeded into the top register by shifting already present data to the left, and continue the operation till all the plain text blocks are processed, right? Remember, see, there's a arrow from this ciphertext to the next block. If you can see here, what we are doing is we are actually feeding this cipher block here in the top register, in the next top register, right? So what we're going to do is, whatever is left, whatever is the value in the shift register, this is going to be here as it is here, and we are going to do what? We're just going to feed the cipher block mode into the next shift register and shift the current value of the shift register. In the simple words, shift register was having certain value, right? After, if you insert some more bits to shift register, what will happen? Whatever was there in the shift register will now shift to the left side, right? And cipher text of the preceding value will now be loaded into the shift register. Okay, so feedback cipher so this cipher block is going to be fed to the top register by shifting the already present data to the left, and continue the operation till all the plain text blocks are proceeded similarly. Okay, so essentially the previous ciphertext block is encrypted with the key that is loaded to the shift register, and then the result is XOR to the current plain text. Right? Can you see this entire procedure? So if I have to repeat, what will happen? The ciphertext will be fed here, and the rest of the value that was present in the shift register will be shifted to the left, and then we'll be giving this as this entire thing. Nothing will be selected, nothing will be discarded. This entire thing will go to the encryption block, and this encryption block will then be generating an output of the 64-bit and then the output to the encryption block will be given to the next block, from where we'll be selecting certain bits and discarding certain bits. After selecting certain bits, those selected bits will then be XORed with the plain text and then generate the second block, right? So this is the entire procedure. Shift register is also going to have the key value and the initialize vector, and encryption block is also going to take the input as key. I'm sorry, I did not mention it earlier. So this is the entire diagram. Moving ahead to the decryption procedure. Please have a look to the decryption procedure. Now, decryption procedure is also going to have the initialize vector. This initialize vector will then be gone for encryption. After encrypting it, what will happen? After encrypting it, uh, remember one more thing, initialize vector and the key both are going to serve as input for the encryption key, algo, and after encrypting certain bits will be selected and some will be discarded. After selecting certain bits, this will be XORed with the cipher block. Remember, this is the decryption technique, and in decryption technique we are going to convert cipher block into plain block. So basically whatever the output of selected bit is, that selected bit output will be XORed with the C1 cipher blocks, the first cipher block, and then generate the first plain text block. Okay, and also this selected bit will further, this cipher block will further, this current cipher block will also be the input to the next shift register. Remember, here in the next shift register, C1 will be serving as the input, and whatever was present in the shift register earlier will be shifted to the left hand side, right? And then the encryption procedure will be carried on with the key and the shift register value. And after encryption procedure, whatever is the output, we'll be selecting S bits from them. S bits is going to be the leftmost significant bits, and we'll be performing XOR of that with the current ciphertext and produce the plain text, the second plain text block. And this current plain text cipher block will then be the input to the next shift register. So this is the entire procedure, right? So basically always remember, the cipher feedback mode is actually going to load something into shift register. Sometimes there's only initialize vector, sometimes there's key and initialize vector, so it is loaded to the shift register, and then after loading something to the shift register, it will pass that value will be passed to the encryption algo, and along with the key, and encryption value will generate certain output, and after generating certain outputs, some values will be selected and some values will be discarded. And if it is encryption technique, what we will be doing is, whatever is the selected bit, we will be XORing it with the plain text to generate ciphertext. And if it is decryption technique, we will be XORing the S selected bits with the cipher value and then produce the plain text. And if you talk about decryption, if you're talking about encryption, if you're talking about encryption, the output, which is C, the cipher value, remember here that the cipher value, which is the output of the XOR operation, is going to serve as the input for the next shift register. And if you talk about decryption, in decryption, the cipher value itself is going to serve as the input to the next shift register, not the output of the XOR value. Always remember, the cipher value in both decryption and encryption are going to serve as the value for the feed value for the next shift register, and that is why it is called as feedback mode, cipher feedback mode. And if you have to talk about certain features of cipher feedback mode has a very strange feature. In this mode, user decrypts the ciphertext using only the encryption process of the block cipher, and the decryption algo of the underlying block cipher is never used. Okay, the decryption algo, whatever we have proposed about the decryption algo, is hardly used. Apparently, cipher feedback mode is converting a block cipher into a type of stream cipher. Now, cipher feedback mode provides some of the advantages of stream cipher, but disadvantage is that the bit error may propagate here in the next scheme too. I hope you can understand. See, if there is an error, if there is one bit error also, talking about encryption scheme. Now, if there is one bit error also in this ciphertext, somehow there is an error. If there is an error, what would happen? This error would propagate into all these steps. So that is why we are saying that here the error can propagate. Right? I hope you can understand. So this is the entire procedure of cipher feedback mode. he'll be going to the next technique, which is output feedback mode. Now output feedback mode is the fourth mode of operation, and output feedback mode is also called as OFB, if you can say. It stands for OFB. OFB mode is similar in the structure to that of CFP that we have already seen. Same as, if you can see, almost most of these steps are similar to what we have done in cipher feedback mode. Here the output of the encryption function is fed back to the shift register. See, every time whatever is the output, whatever you have selected as selected bits of encryption, that is going to serve as the output to the next shift register. Right? The output of the encryption function. See, we are encrypting the shift register along with the key, and we are selecting certain bits. And after selecting certain bits, we are then performing the XOR operation. But the input for the next feedback round is this selected bits and not the ciphertext. Right? The only difference between CBC and OFB is the input to the next shift register here is not the cipher block, it is the selected bits. That's it. One advantage of OFB method is that the bit error is not transmitted. Right? Even if certain things are wrong in the plain text and the ciphertext, even if there's certain things that are wrong in the ciphertext conversion, this bit error in the ciphertext will not be propagated. Why? Because we are not feeding the ciphertext value. We're just taking the selected S bits to the next for the next round. So the advantage is that OFB method is not promoting the bit error transmission in the entire flow of OFB method. And one disadvantage of OFB is that it is more vulnerable to message stream modification attack. Right? Many a times what happens is there's going to be message modification possible. There's a possibility that message is going to be modified. Right? Since this is not going to serve as the input for the next round, and if some person gets to know somehow about the key, then it can modify the plain text or it can modify the ciphertext. So this is the entire thing about output feedback mode. This is the encryption procedure for the output feedback mode, and this is the decryption procedure for the output feedback mode. As you can see here, what we're doing is we're loading the initialized vector and the key with the shift register, and then we are providing that as an input to the encryption key. We are also using the key as input to the encryption key. After we are generating the output from the encryption algo, we are then selecting certain bits, S bits, and after selecting that S bit is also going to serve as the feedback for the next round. And after generating the S bits, or after selecting the S bits, we are going to perform the XOR of S bits and the cipher value and generate the plain text value. So this is how the entire procedure is going to be done. Right? So this is the entire thing about decryption. The fifth and the last mode of operation is the counter mode of operation. Typically the counter is initialized to some value and then incremented by 1 for each subsequent block. To be more specific, if you can see, for encryption we are using a counter value, and this counter value is initialized to any value initially, and if after one value is initialized to counter, that is going to serve as input to the encryption block along with the key that is going to serve as input to the encryption block. After an output is generated, that output is going to be XORed with the plain text and generate the ciphertext. Now for the next round, what will happen? This counter value will be incremented by 1. That's it. After incrementing this counter value by 1, this is going to serve as input for the encryption for the next block, and the key will also be the same. And after the output is generated, the second plain text block will be XORed with the output and will generate the second cipher block. And this is how the entire procedure will be repeating itself. This is the encryption technique. Talking about decryption. If we talk about decryption, decryption again is we're going to take the counter value to some value and take it as input for the encryption algo along with the key value, and there's going to be an output generated. After generating the output, that value will be XORed with the cipher value. After XORing it with the cipher value, we'll be generating the plain text. This is how we'll be generating the plain text. For the next round, the counter value will be incremented by 1 and serve as the input to the encryption block along with the key value. After that, there will be an output generated. After generating an output, this cipher text will be XORed with the output and generate the plain text block. And similarly, the entire procedure is going to repeat up till n-1 steps. This is the entire counter mode operation. So we have studied about different modes of operations. If we have to discuss about all of them again, I will start from ECB, electronic codebook mode. If you remember electronic codebook mode, the problem with the electronic codebook mode was it was not secure for the lengthy messages. Why? Because for every plain text, the cipher text was regenerated again, so that was not secure for lengthy messages, and it is always preferred for small messages. Talking about cipher blockchain mode, if you have to talk about cipher blockchain mode, it was an improvement over ECB, where the plain text is not repeated, where the value for the plain text is not repeated again. Right, what were we doing there? We were just taking the initialized vector and then XORing it with the plain text and then serving that as an input to the encryption value. Please keep noting down all the diagrams while I'm teaching, so that when I review everything, you can understand what I'm talking. This is cipher blockchain mode I'm talking about. I'm saying that what will be done here is we'll be taking the initialized vector and then XORing it with the plain text to generate an input for the encryption algo along with the key, and then there's been output generated as cipher block, and the cipher block will also serve as the input for the next round. And that is why it is called a cipher blockchain mode, because cipher block is going to be chained for every round here. That is why it is called a cipher blockchain mode of operation, right? Also remember that it provides both confidentiality and authentication. It's going to provide verification along with the hiding of the existence of the message. Talking about the next methodology that we discussed was cipher feedback mode. Cipher feedback mode is little different from what we were doing up till now. We took a shift register. Into shift register we loaded some initialized vector. The choice of the shift register, the value of the shift register is on the user of the chain mode, cipher feedback mode. He can also load the key value along with the initialized vector in the shift register, and after loading these two values, what will be done, we'll be passing this to an encryption block along with the key. After passing this to encryption block, encryption will then generate an output. After generating an output, certain bits will be selected, certain will be discarded. After selecting certain bits, those selected certain bits will then be XORed with the plain text and then generate certain cipher block. And this is cipher feedback mode. Why it is called a cipher feedback mode? Because here we are going to here we are going to feed the cipher block to the next block. So always remember, whatever is the error that has propagated, that has come in this C1 block, will always be propagated in the entire process. And that is the disadvantage of cipher feedback mode. Cipher feedback mode says that the bit error in the first block will always be propagated in the entire scheme. And also one more thing, we said that the feedback mode, the decryption scheme under cipher feedback mode is hardly used in the current days. Talking about the fourth feedback mode, or fourth technology of block cipher mode of operation, was output feedback mode. Now the output feedback mode was just an improvement over what we have seen in the cipher feedback mode. In cipher feedback mode, we were just feeding the cipher value to the next round. Here we will be feeding the selected S bits to the next round and not the cipher value. That is the difference, and therefore the bit error will not be propagated here in the output feedback mode, which is an advantage of output feedback mode. We then discussed about counter mode. Now counter mode just uses counter values. Initial counter value can be anything decided by the designer or decided by the user, and then the counter value will always be incremented by 1, and the final step will be counter plus n minus 1. So thank you class, this is the entire video about blockchain cipher mode. If any doubt, you can raise the doubts and I'll be creating another video for your doubts too. Thank you so much.